Hi, everybody. This is day 949. 949 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. But he didn't just vanish, something happened. And, I've been. Okay, so we know at this point that Richard is a whistleblower. And the subject came up that there's a possibility that Richard did report child abuse to his command, and that they didn't care. And now, is that a possibility? Can someone report a problem, a crime, to their command, and their command say they don't care, shut up, go away? Absolutely. We know that in Asia Graham's case, absolutely, that she reported her rape and they told her to shut up. Okay. They didn't do anything until after she was dead to indict the rapist. So this rapist was allowed to walk around for months, maybe even a year. So for months, they didn't do anything, even after they heard of the report. So yeah, and there's so many more stories, absolutely more stories. You know it with Vanessa Gann. She was a whistleblower. We know it, that she was not being protected. She was not being listened to. And then also with Austin Hawke. Now, they did act in his case, and look what happened to him. They didn't offer any protection, and, the CQ was in on it. So, yeah, it is a major possibility that Richard was told to shut up when he reported child abuse. Now, why would they do that? Do they not care about children? They're the entire military's job is to defend the Constitution, the land and the people, the land and the people. So, especially the vulnerable, especially the children, right? So, it's just amazing that if this is true, it just shows you another dereliction of duty and obstruction of justice. Just crimes across the board, all over the place. So that is what drove Richard to report to the Child Protective Service complaint. That's the subject that has come up, and that might be a real possibility. And that's why we need the legal file. Now, I have here communication with Fort Bliss. They claim client. What is it that that you're supposed to keep things quiet. Don't tell people what's going on. When and I agree with privacy. I do. But not with dealing with them, because they're not working for us. They leak. Richard's file has been leaked. They did not tell us that the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado was the exact same man that walked into that Dollar General that said that he was with the FBI, which he's with the FBI. And in our, I mean, if you pose as FBI and don't get in trouble, you're with the FBI. Okay, that's a felony. So that goes into a Dollar General and says that the FBI has found the missing soldier Richard Halliday in Juarez, Mexico. His remains. He's dead. He's dead. And then we call up the Department of State and ask, were the FBI there in Juarez, Mexico, looking for the remains of our son? Oh yeah. and he proceeds to tell us three of the five places. Um, so something is really, really wrong there. But I wanted to just share a few words from this very lengthy email that my husband received. Gosh, this is so tiresome, y'all. Because I want to tell you why this is so tiresome. They write volumes, I've gotten, anyway. And the thing is we need Richard's legal file to help us find our son. He has been missing for 949 days. 949 days, right? We're going on 3 years here that he has been missing from his barracks room. And I don't see why, when someone is missing for that long, presumed dead, that they can't be helpful. And they can't understand at this point what we want from them. They say, we don't understand what we want from you. We need clarification. Yeah. So, are you asking me personally? I need clarification that I can ensure that you acknowledge and understand. Do we have the capacity? Do you have the capacity? These are assuming and absolutely and possession and requesting number 3. Okay, let's go on. Exceptions from the government. Oh my gosh, and you need to have a FOIA. No, we don't need a FOIA. We need you to just send us what we need. And this is the thing. They're supposed to be helping us, but they hurt us all the time because they kick the can, because they put up brick walls. They stonewall us. And the attorney-client privilege. We are not his client, okay? I want to make that very clear. We are not his client. Richard is a United States active duty Army soldier. They have an obligation to care for their service members. He went missing from the barracks room there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, the Siamese twin sister city of Juarez, Mexico. There is a border there. There needs to be security. There's all kinds of security cameras everywhere. Richard goes missing from his barracks room after he had been totally smoked by his command because he went over and above and beyond the chain of command, even though now we have this possibility that he went to them first and they told him to shut up about child abuse. So he decided to go over and above and beyond and go and make a complaint to Child Protective Services. And he might have made 2 complaints, okay? He might have made more than that. We need to know. We've had a FOIA in with them for a long, long time. And they're stonewalling us. Why? Why can't we know the complaint that Richard made? Why is there so much protection for child porn producers, for child sex traffickers? Why is there so much protection? Why do they get their 6 covered? And they don't have Vanessa Guillen's 6. They don't have Enrique Roman Martinez's 6. They don't have Caleb Smithers' 6. They don't have Austin Hawk's 6. They don't have Gregory Morales' 6. They don't have Lavina Johnson's 6. They don't have Elder Fernandez's 6. No, they are protecting child porn producers. They are, in my estimation, they are protecting people that abuse children. And, so is that what look, Army, Look, 44 four-star generals and admirals, your job is not to protect criminals. It's not to protect child porn producers. It's not to protect child sex trafficking. It is to defend the Constitution, the land, and the people, which means you have an obligation to care for your service members, and you are killing them. You are harming them. You are maiming them. You are setting them up for crimes. You are setting them up for mental illness. If you are protecting child porn producers and child porn, and you are and you are, because any support or production or broadcasting of porn anywhere in a military installation is supporting child sex trafficking. And so this is why we need Richard's file. And why are you not interested in giving it to us? And this is the thing from this guy. I have to, and I'm sure they spent the weekend, troubleshooting and brainstorming. How are they going to answer that Halliday family that just won't give up trying to look for their son? I hope they did. I hope they did. When you legal counsel, oh man, whatever. They know exactly what we want here, and they just, I wish I could show you this. It is just, blah, 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 blah. And this is what I want to say. Now, this is me. I really don't know your job. I know my son is missing, and I really don't need to know all the details of how you get us Richard's legal file. Okay? I can go to any courthouse. I can go and put in $5 or even $10 or whatever, and get Richard's legal file. I can get clarity. Now, why can't I get that from the U.S. Army that has failed in every way in this case, in every program that it puts its hand to? Why can't you give us Richard's file? It was leaked. Okay, so what are you trying to hide? Because do not tell me that you care about leaked files. Because, let me share this. This is very interesting. Oh, sorry. There it is. Okay, let's look at this. I'm just going to read the headlines. So this is The Hill, Pentagon probing report of leak from military email server. The Defense Department's U.S. Special Operations Command launched an investigation this week following a report that said that the unit had an exposed server that leaked. They don't even know how many files. They don't even know. Let's go on. The U.S. Okay, so this is from CNN. U.S. military investigating leak of emails from Pentagon server. The U.S. military Special Operations Command says it is investigating a report from a cybersecurity researcher that the command was leaking a trove of unclassified email data. This is just a little headline, okay? And files were leaked, y'all. Okay, here's Fox Business. The Department of Defense and Microsoft are looking into an unsecured server that exposed sensitive but unclassified emails and data files and all kinds of stuff. y'all, they had an exposed server. You could go and get whatever you want out of our DOD for days and days. They had a server that was unlocked, no security. They had it. And now they're giving us the stonewalling of trying to get our son, who is 949 days missing from his barracks room at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And we can't get what we need to help find Richard because we have it all. That's what I always say. We have it all. And we just need legal grounds. We need the legal, let's just say, the tied ends, the legal tied ends to move forward. And this is what will drive, we think, the finding of our son. Okay? Now, why wouldn't they want that? What are they hiding? Who was involved in child sex pornography? Who was involved in child sex trafficking that they have to hide? That's really that's where it ends up, right? They're hiding something. And don't tell me they care about security. They are working for foreign and domestic enemies, y'all. Do you think this is an accident that this was an open server? I don't think so. I don't think it was an accident. Don't give me that. It is just another failure. But for them, working for foreign and domestic enemies, it's another success. So the more that they hurt us, the more success they have for our enemies. And do not doubt for a minute that our 44 four-star generals and admirals, 44 of them, have committed the most egregious crimes of treason, crimes against humanity, betrayal, total betrayal of the American way, the American Constitution, the American land, the American people. Do not. So we, right now, our DOD has been hijacked. And we need to get it back. It's our DOD. It's our dime that's paying for it. Our debt. At least let us have something for our debt. Right? We need to be in control of our equipment, of our stealth bombers, of our nuclear submarines, of our fleets, of our Air Force. We need to be in control of it. And right now, it has been hijacked, and they are holding every service member, whether they know it or not, because some of them have those, squirrely things in their eyes because they've been hypnotized. Been there, done that. It's so sad. But they have been they are held hostage. And they are made by orders, by op-ords, to be in service to foreign and domestic enemies. And that's why we have so many insane things going on right now. This is, let's listen to this.
Chairman James Comer wrote to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin 2 weeks ago, demanding to know if this was more than just an Air Force problem. Rogers responding, quote, DOD has had ample time to provide answers on these egregious leaks. Their delay continues to undermine the trust our service members have in military leadership to keep their private records private. The most sensitive example being Air Force veteran Jennifer Ruth Green, whose sexual assault was 21 to December 2022 to a private research firm called Due Diligence. Fox has learned the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee paid that firm more to election cycle.
Keyboard warriors,
Due Diligence.
These are these keyboard
Fox
warriors.
has learned the
question is, what did the DCCC know? They paid for this. Did they get the information?
Both Bacon and Iowa Republican Congressman Zach Nunn had their military records leaked and are calling for an investigation.
They acquired the information without my consent. They used forms perpetrating myself or an entity working on my behalf.
The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee has not responded to our requests for...
Yeah. So there's all kinds of leaks. And don't forget that Richard's file has been leaked out of the CID by a special agent there in the CID by the name of Tavita Nusa to Leilani Hart. What did she need with that? And I'll make it very clear. Richard's file was not the only one. And this is very important to know. There were many files being leaked. Okay? And there's reasons for that. And that's all coming out. That's all coming out. That's all behind the scenes coming out. And I'm just going to tell you, it's shocking. It's shocking. So things were going on, not up to no good, up to a lot of harm. And then, of course, we have in the news this Rand Paul interview that I thought was really important, because when Richard went missing in 2020, and part of the whole smear on him, part of the smoking of him or whatever, is because he does think differently. He is more like a Rand Paul. Matter of fact, we are a big Ron Paul fan family. We really are, how can I say? I don't want to say libertarian. I don't want to say that. But we really want the Fed audited. We want the 44 four-star generals audited and investigated. The IRS, used as a weaponized against us. And everything that Ron Paul stands for, we backed him up. So let's listen to this.
He was right about masks, and now years after Paul's Democratic colleagues ridiculed him, called him names, well, the senators, refusing to wear a mask.
Okay, so we have senators and all of the workers and members of the congressional house there ridiculing, making fun of. What did they do to Richard? What did they do to Richard? On top of Richard not going along with child abuse, child sex trafficking, child sex pornography, production of it. And if that production was on our installations, which we believe it was, if that production was on our installations in uniforms, with people in uniform, all of this stuff, yeah. And God forbid if these are any children from service members. God forbid. So please pray. Christ have mercy. Lord have mercy. Christ have mercy. And so if they ridiculed him for not wanting to wear a mask, which they were just insane. I know with my dad in the hospital, in the Navy hospital, they were insane. I'm like, my dad is dying. I need to show my dad my face. Okay? My dad needs my face. He has just turned into a paraplegic. He needs to see my face. I need to be able to kiss him. I need to be able to just let him see the love coming from our faces radiating to give him energy to fight through this. And I did. And they were absolutely insane. I can tell you that. They did not care about the health of my father. I will tell you that right now. At the Navy hospital, they did not care about the health of my father during that time. Now, another hospital did okay, did good, did very good. But that one, the military, they were absolutely insane. And the masks, now we know, absolutely at that time, we knew there were people that were talking about it, but they were viciously removed. They were removed from the table of discussion. And, you had the person blowing smoke through the mask, and you could see it, the particles and stuff like this. And then there were people that were talking about the isolation, the purification of viruses, that there was no proof of it. No proof of it. If they didn't do proof of it, if they had no proof at all of a purified virus, then how could they do Koch's postulates? And Koch's postulates is a scientific method of showing contagion, to proving contagion. And, that they have none of that to this day. They don't have any of that. And so the whole point of the mask is, during that time, was to prevent contagion, right? But they couldn't even prove contagion. You understand? So where was this coming from? Right? Is it bad water? Is it in a food we're eating? Is it something else? We needed to know. And because they would not let any discussion, any sane discussion happen, and do not tell me that generals are so stupid they didn't know what was going on. They absolutely knew. If we knew, they knew. If they knew the daily in and outs of current events, of people being taken down by asking very intelligent questions, then if we knew that, they knew that, you see. So this whole mask mandate thing, just absolutely insanity. So that hurt us. The lack of workers hurt us. The excuse is always, well, it's COVID, it's COVID, it's COVID, and we're like, our son is missing. There's no urgency at all. There's just stonewalling. There's just stumbling. There's just excuses, and lies, and lies, and lies. And then asymmetric warfare tactics. Upon asymmetric warfare tactics. Upon military operations used against us. And so now we need Richard's legal file. And they spent the weekend. I can just tell by this very long email that is just so written by probably at least 3 JAG officers, lawyers, to go around and make more excuses and not be held accountable for whatever Richard reported or went through, being smoked, whatever they did to him, in those legal files, that those legal files prove. That's what I think. Now, could I be wrong? Well, let's look at the files. And if I eat crow, I eat crow. My son is missing. And I don't care how they get us those files. I don't care how many hoops they have to jump through. You see, they need to get us those files. Richard, for the most part of all of that, was under 21. He is presumed dead at this point. They can give us those files. We'll see what other information that that we'll get. But all this COVID stuff is coming out now. They're saying it came from Wuhan. Something came from Wuhan. Okay? They were doing biological weapons. Something came from Wuhan. Can you call it a virus? I don't think you can call it a virus. And I say that because I think it's very dangerous. if they continue this narrative that viruses still exist, that the germ theory is not trash, and the germ theory is trash, y'all, just like Darwin's theory is trash. Okay, evolution is very, very racist. Very racist. Okay, the survival of the fittest. It's very racist. So that's trash. The germ theory is trash. And what does that mean? That means that they can still stick it to us, that they can still mandate Cobra strikes for other things and call other things viruses. If they keep up with this narrative, all of the liabilities will be covered up by, oh, that was a virus. That was a virus. And, so we have been hoodwinked for decades and decades and decades, and we have been made to be stuck and stuck some more and stuck some more and stuck some more and stick our babies even more and stick our babies even more like pincushions. And, call that healthy. So when they don't even want to take some money, all the money that they make on all of that, and ensure that we have clean water and clean air, they don't even care to go to Ohio and help those people have clean water and clean air and clean living conditions. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about the people. They have proven it over and over and over again. And so I don't really care what hoops these lawyers have to jump through to get us Richard's legal papers. Just do it. Do it for God's sake, right? Do it for righteousness' sake. Do it for justice' sake. Do it for America. Do it for the land and the people. Do it for just to be not so cold-blooded. And do it for Richard's sake. Because he is a U.S. Army soldier. You didn't know him. We knew him. We loved him. We have the memories. Today is our son Robert's birthday, 26 years old. He would like to know where his brother is and what happened to his brother. And he kind of knows what happened to his brother because we have so much evidence. We have so much evidence that proves that there is so much foul play in this, and the foul play is coming from the U.S. military, and it's coming from the U.S. military 44 four-star generals and admirals. And of course it is, because they're total treasonous criminals. And what do total treasonous criminals that betray the people that they are sworn to defend, the land that they're sworn to defend, the Constitution, the law that they're sworn to defend, what do these treasonous criminals do? They commit even more crimes. They become even more cold-blooded. And that is obvious. That is obvious. And if they're going to, because it's a real possibility, I don't know if you can read that. It's a very, very, very real possibility that that the FBI is hiding the remains of our son Richard Halliday, the very first CONUS Dust 1 missing soldier in U.S. Army history under the new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. And it is a real, real, real possibility that Richard was a whistleblower that triggered the IG to be all over the barracks because of child sex porn production, child abuse, and child sex trafficking, of course. And please God, do not let it be that service members were pimping out their own children. Please God, let that not be what is happening. Major General Clem Coward has a lot of explaining to do, a lot of answering and explaining to do on what the hell was happening on Fort Bliss with barracks as marketplaces for illegal drugs, flush with weapons, bringing in girls during the COVID lockdown. We brought in girls during COVID lockdown when everything was shut down. And alcohol going crazy, suicides going crazy. Suicides are so bad that the 44 four-star generals that, of course, are totally criminal, totally treasonous, totally totalitarian because they're not Trinitarian. What do they want to do? They want to take away the constitutional rights of our soldiers to bear arms. Because don't forget, Richard bought a pistol 5 days before he went missing. Our daughter, Hannah, said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, Richard, he feared for his life. He was fearing for his life." Absolutely. So the right to protect yourself in these absolutely non-following SOP barracks, they did not follow standard operating procedures in the barracks, and we see that the criminality through the 3 beheadings that were all happening while Richard was being smoked and then gone missing. 3 beheadings: Vanessa Guillen, Enrique Roman Martinez, and Austin Hawk. Look that up. This is our military that has been hijacked, our DOD that has been hijacked. Who is this Christine Doomsday Warmouth? That General McConville, wearing our beautiful uniform with beautiful 4 stars that I want back. I want it back. He needs to get out of it because he just acts like a little puppy while she's flipping off a sitting Senator Cruz, trying to get to the bottom of this disaster. And he's just sitting there like a little puppy dog. Not even defending, not acting like a soldier at all, just like a weakling, a little wiener dog. And nothing against wiener dogs. Sorry, I had a wiener dog, long-haired dachshund named Johnny. Sorry. So I take that back. Just acting like a criminal, like a total criminal, not defending Senator Cruz. And he can find a way to get us Richard's file. He can redeem himself by getting to the bottom of this. But see, they're covering up things that are so egregious. I mean, it can get worse than child sex trafficking. It can get worse than child pornography, production of it, selling of it, broadcasting it, right? And any soldier that was broadcasted through these servers, these open servers that they can go in and then get all kinds of files from, but they use servers to broadcast this porn that supports child sex trafficking. If you're a service member that has gotten these terrible porn videos, please contact me, 941-677-0060. Super important. Please watch this about Rand Paul. He was right all along. They still keep with this narrative about Wuhan and the leak. Okay, we know there was a leak, a biological weapon. The lab leak, right? War Room broke the lab leak January 23, 2020. So this is very interesting right here.
Cortez, young Natalie Winters used the R word, sir. Mm-hmm. Why has there been no discussion? Why are elites, given the devastation of this, And yes, it was a bioweapon program. And Miles believes they did it released on purpose. I am of the school still that it was an inadvertent because of their incompetence, and inadvertently that they then exacerbated, as Peter Navarro has shown, how they exacerbated the spread of it after it leaked. But even given that, why are we not having a discussion on reparations, sir?
Well, we need to, and I think, as usual, War Room is going to lead the way, where the conservative movement, the America First movement, patriotic populism is going to ultimately end up. That certainly has been the case on Ukraine. Steve, you were one of the lonely voices early on a year ago saying, wait a second, de-escalation should be the goal of the United States.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about was this reparations, because I have been talking about for so long that the COVID was worse than a bomb, and a nuclear bomb hitting the United States, because of the families that it destroyed and the businesses that it destroyed, and just the psychology of our children that it damaged, and the whole economy in itself, and how many crimes were committed because of the lockdowns and the insanity and the fear mongering and everything like that, the response to it. And so, yes, I believe that there needs to be reparations, of course, because billions and billions and billions were made off of lies, total lies, and false promises, safe and effective, preventing contagion and all this stuff. And it was just, there's just so many lies. And so, but I call it a restitution. So, I hope that they look into that. That really was, something positive that I heard on here. Let's see, why do I have this on here? But anyway, you can go to my Find Richard Halliday, our Find Richard Halliday Telegram, and you can see those. And of course, you can go to Facebook, you can go to Rumble, you can go to Odyssey, you can go to Twitter, you can go to, we're there. And the big question is, what happened to Richard? Did they chop him up? Did they, all this stuff is still coming out after us. And, really the big question is, is the FBI hiding the remains of our son because they didn't want all this to get out, like Vanessa Guillen got out, and of course Austin Hogg right in the middle of all of that. But we're 949 days later, and they need to give us the legal papers so that we can get on with business now. Oh gosh, can you imagine that I'm saying that? It's, we need to find Richard. And they're just, it's just a stonewall and stonewall and stonewall and torture and military operations used against us, the conspiracy, the secrecy, over and over again. So I just hope that service members' families weren't brought into this mess with their children. I hope their children of service members are not part of this. Any children, and we know it's about child sex trafficking and child porn. So, we're honing in on that. So, thank you. If you have any questions now, I'll answer them. Turn this off here. That'll give it better. I'm not so good, and I'm going to Facebook right now, so if you have any questions, you can just ask on Facebook and I'll look. Okay, gotta turn that down. Okay, so I have no comments. If you do have I know, how can you comment on, oh my gosh, child sex porn? And let's pray, please God, no, that service members' families did not pimp out their children. Because you understand, our service members, they, while the DOD is making billions and billions wrongly, fraudulently, with this COVID nonsense and so many other war things, all the contracting and everything, our soldiers' pay does not reflect the same kind of concern for pay. And they have been groomed then. PSYOPs, find something else to do. They've had to find second jobs. And a lot of these second jobs are in the sex industry because they've been groomed to do that. And they've been given the okay. And that's where the money is at. And they of course, create these servers to broadcast all of this stuff. And it's become really, really big business. And so because there's a need for funds, and because there's no esprit de corps, and because there's been an attack on the family, because there has been no justice, and you have these batterers and rapists and criminals allowed to be in uniform, and families being broken up, and all this stuff, and then their pay so strenuous, being stressed out all the time on how they're going to pay all the bills and everything, and then with all the drugs and the PTSD and the mental health drugs and all of the stuff. I mean, it's so crazy, all of the health problems, because it's big money to make people sick and offer them treatments, not cures, but treatments. And so, then they look for any way they can to make some money and make ends meet. And so I really hope that this is not the case, that we haven't stooped to this level. But, if you know anything about it, if you have received any of these videos, please 941-677-0060. Say something. Not to. It's risky. I'm just going to be telling you. I'll just tell you the truth. It's just an act of courage. That's all it is. It's just to be courageous, to do the right thing. That's all it is. We cannot let children be pimped out for porn videos. Okay? For child sex porn videos. We cannot let children be trafficked and sexually trafficked. We can't do it. We can't. We're going to ruin everything. Everything. We won't have a society. We won't have a country. We'll just spiral downward into the abyss. Into the abyss. It'll just get worse and worse and worse. And it can get worse. So, if you have received any of these broadcasted child sex videos, especially if you were in the El Paso area, especially if you were in Fort Bliss area, please contact us, 941-677-0060. Thank you so much. And like I'm saying, we do have a $150,000 reward for information leading to finding Richard. But I need you to do that kind of tip, just for the courageous righteousness of it. That's it. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. And I will be back. Please share everything. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.